morning, all of you. So in the last class, we discussed about the spring force and some problems based on the spring balance reading, how to calculate the spring balance reading in the different cases. So let us see some more problems based on this spring balance here. That means spring and spring force related problems. Like suppose let us take one problem here. I am taking this two blocks are connected by a spring like this. Let us say this is 2 kg and this is 3 kg. And now we are applying a force of some 20 newtons here, right? The total say force acting on that system is 20 newtons. Now we need to calculate like when the acceleration of this block is say 2 meter per second square, then find the acceleration of the block 2 kg block. So write down that problem. As shown in figure, two blocks are connected by the spring. Two blocks are connected by a spring. And a force of 20 newtons is applied on 2 kg block as shown. And a force of 20 newtons is applied on 2 kg block as shown. When the acceleration of the 3 kg block is 2 meter per second square, when the acceleration of the 2 kg block is 2 meter per second square, then find the acceleration of the 2 kg block, find the acceleration of the 2 kg block at that instant. At that instant. So at this instant we need to find the acceleration of the 2 kg block. Just see here, simply you need to take the FBDs of 2 kg and FBD of 3 kg. Then easily you can calculate this acceleration of this block. Let's suppose I am taking this k as some constant here, spring constant. So then I am taking this FBD of 3 kg. So if you are taking this FBD of 3 kg block, then here there is some acceleration here, say A1. Now here there is some force acting on this block. That force is nothing but our spring force here. So spring force this is, and which you can write it as some kx. If x is the elongation or compression produced in that spring, then you can consider that spring force as kx here. So that means I am assuming that actually that extra calculation is not required. And so then here from this what we can write is because this is accelerating with that, so I can write this as kx is equal to 3 into a1. So which is equal to 3 into that a1 value is 2 is given. Therefore this kx is equal to 6 newtons, right? So this is equation 1. That's the acceleration of that 3 kg block. And from this we are calculating the spring force there. Now let us take the FBD of this 2 kg block here. So FBD of 2 kg block. So now on the 2 kg block the forces acting on this are 20 newtons, and this side kx will be there here, right? And so that say it is accelerating along this direction here with acceleration a2. And here you need to identify here first of all, when these two are connected by the string, then acceleration of 3 kg and acceleration of 2 kg will be same at any instant, right? But here when they are connected by the spring like this, the accelerations of those blocks will be different. They may be same at some instant of time, but in general at the different instants of the time if you consider, then they are different here. The acceleration of this block and this block will be different. So that you should consider here. The same acceleration you can't consider here. So that will be I am taking some other acceleration. Now just write the force diagram for this and you can write this equation here. So therefore 20 minus kx, that kx value is nothing but 6 we calculated here. So 6 is equal to 2 into a2. Therefore this a2 is equal to, we can write this as 7 meter per second square, right? So that is the acceleration of the second block here. The acceleration of the second block is 7 meter per second square. And sometimes if they give the k value for example, then you can calculate that elongation produced in the spring also just by using this equation. If k is known to us, then you can calculate this elongation also. Elongation produced in the spring also you can calculate here. And next let us take another problem here. Like suppose I am taking it as a circular ring. And so now here I am taking this one spring is placed like this. And here some ring is attached here. And this mass, this angle is 30 and its mass is m, let us consider that, right? And this spring constant value is suppose say k, where that k value I am taking as root 3 plus 1 into mg by r, where r is the radius. So r is the radius of this circular ring here, right? So note down that problem. A small bead of mass m, this is small bead of mass m, is connected to the one end of the spring, as shown in the figure. Spring, spring as shown in the figure. The spring constant of the spring is, write this, the spring constant of the spring is root 3 plus 1 into mg by r, and the natural length of the spring is r. Natural length of the ring is r, which is equal to the radius of the ring as shown. That means this is the radius of the ring here. For this ring also radius is r only. The natural length of that spring is also r only. The spring is fixed between the positions A and B, and the bead B can slide. The bead B can slide along the ring, without any friction. If this total arrangement, if the ring is placed in vertical plane, find the normal reaction between the bead and the ring. Immediately after releasing from the position B. Right? So is it clear? Just simply the question is we are releasing from here. So once if we release, the immediately after releasing, what is the contact force between this bead and the normal bead and the ring, we need to calculate here. So this ring is a fixed ring. That ring is a fixed in vertical plane here. So this ring is a fixed ring. Fixed in its vertical plane. Now once if we release from here, then this bead will starts moving basing on the spring force direction here. So first of all, we need to calculate either the spring is, we need to identify whether the spring is in a compressed state or elongated state, or whether it is at its natural length, right? So then natural length of the spring is known to us. Now let us calculate the distance between that A and B here. So now I am taking this another point here. Let us take this as some C, and this is the center. I am taking it as some O, right? And so now you know this distance you can calculate here, right? So that means that angle is in a semicircle. You know that angle will be 90 degrees, and so then this angle is 90 and this is 30 degrees, and we can find this AB distance here. So what I am writing here is from triangle ABC. Suppose now I am writing that cos 30 is equal to, right? Cos 30 value I am defining in the triangle. So what we can write here is AB by AC we can write. Therefore AB is equal to AC cos 30. So AB is equal to AC value is nothing but 2R. Cos 30 is root 3 by 2. Therefore this AB is equal to root 3R you will get. So that is the AB value. And so therefore the elongation of the spring we can write as, this is only AB, length of this. So therefore this elongation of the spring we can write it as x is equal to this length, final length minus that initial natural length, so which is r. Therefore this elongation we can write it as root 3 minus 1 into r, right? So that is the elongation produced in that spring. And so now let us come to the free body diagram of the bead there. So for that I am drawing the circle also, so that you can identify that clearly, the directions of the different forces. So that means now here this one line will be there, this is the length of the, along the length of the spring, and so now I can say the spring force will be along this direction here, right? So spring force will be along this direction because the spring is in elongated state, so that the spring force will be acting like this. This is the kx direction here, which makes an angle of 30 degrees here. And next we need to find the normal reaction. In addition to that, the remaining forces will be, gravity will be there here. The gravitational force will be mg, vertically downwards, because I mentioned already that ring is lying in vertical plane here, right? And so then in addition to this, the normal reaction will be there. So the normal reaction between the ring and this bead will be along this direction here. Suppose I am taking this as the center of the ring here. So the normal reaction will be always along the center. So like this. Because normal reaction means we discussed already, it should pass through the center for the circular objects or for the spherical objects. So then these are the forces acting on this here. And then just we need to resolve, this is the vertical direction here, and we need to resolve and we need to balance that, so that you will get this normal reaction value here. That means we need to write the force equations here. So for that, let us identify the angles here. So I can say that this angle is also equal to 30 degrees, right? Because this side is radius r and this side is also radius r here. So this is our names of these points are O, A, B, this is B. So this angle is also 30 degrees here, because this OA is radius r and OB is also radius r. So that angle we can say 30 degrees. And then next here we can say that when you are completing this triangle here, suppose I am taking this, I am extending this vertical here, so that this point is D. Now let us consider the triangle ADB. This triangle if we consider, then this at the angle at the D will be 90 degrees, because it is a right angle here. This is vertical and this radius diameter we are taking as horizontal. So then here it is 30 degrees, means then here this total angle at this B will be 60 degrees. So already this angle is 30 degrees. So I can write that this angle is also now 30 degrees, right? So now let us resolve the normal reaction and let us resolve the forces along this radial direction and balance that. Because along the radial direction, there is no any acceleration for that particle, just it is at rest only, we are releasing from rest. It is released from rest means there is no any velocity. If the initial velocity is 0, so initial velocity is 0 means along the radial direction the forces should balance with each other. And in actually in detail about the circular motion you will get that if any velocity is there, then there will be centripetal acceleration along the direction. If velocity is 0, then centripetal acceleration, which is equal to v square by r value, will be 0. V square by r, centripetal acceleration. So v square, then the net force should be 0 along the direction here. So that I can write this as along radial direction, I am balancing the forces here. N is equal to, N is outward direction, this value we can write as kx cos 30 plus mg cos 30, right? This component kx cos 30 along this OB direction, and similarly for mg also mg cos 30 you will get there. And now we can substitute these values and we can simplify this. K values I am substituting like root 3 plus 1 into mg by r, this is the K value, root 3 plus 1 into mg by r. And this x value we calculated already, so that is root 3 minus 1 into r, so root 3 minus 1 into r, and into cos 30 value is root 3 by 2, we can take that common there, so plus mg of, and total I am taking that root 3 by 2 common. And now you can simplify this, so n is equal to, this is 3mg, here you will get root 3 and root 3 whole square, that is 3mg minus mg and plus mg, so this is 3 root 3 by 2 into mg you will get finally, right? So that will be the normal reaction between bead and the ring just after releasing here. So is it clear this equation? Along tangential some acceleration will be there because it starts accelerating along the direction. Some acceleration will be there, that is not asked here. Tangential acceleration is not required here. If it is required, then you need to take the component along this direction also, and for mg also you will get another component along this direction. That net force is equal to ma you need to write. Tangential acceleration will be there here because the bead starts accelerating along the tangential direction. Once if you release it, then it will move along this direction here. But along normal reaction, what I said here is, we know the centripetal acceleration is v square by r. We are releasing from rest means this v value will be 0, so that the centripetal acceleration is 0. Centripetal acceleration is 0 means net force is equal to mac we need to write, so that this net force is 0, so that we need to balance along the directions here. So right, so that is a problem, and such a similar problem will be there here, another problem. So let us see that problem now. So this is a vertical ring. Say a ring of radius, vertical ring of radius r is fixed in this vertical plane like this. And now here a spring is connected, that means a small bead is connected to a spring, and which can slide along this ring here, similar to that problem. Now again just I am taking this half of this, and the arrangement is like this, and this angle is say 60 degrees, and this natural length of the spring is given as 3r by 4, right? So it is a natural length of the spring here. The natural length of the spring is 3r by 4, and a k value I am giving it as the spring constant value is mg by r. This is a semicircle of radius r. So immediately after releasing from this position, again let us take this as AB. So immediately after releasing from that position, so they are asking that the normal reaction there, the normal reaction they are asking here, so that AB length is given as r here. This AB length is also given, that is r. That means it is in that position there. So mention that data there. A smooth semicircular track of radius r, a smooth semicircular track of radius r is fixed in vertical plane. Is fixed in vertical plane. A massless spring of constant k, in brackets mention this k value also, a massless spring of spring constant k, and natural length 3r by 4 is fixed at one end A, and other end is connected to a small bead of mass m, and it is placed at the point B, such that the distance AB is equal to r. And it makes an angle 60 degrees with the vertical as shown. If the bead is released from this position, then find the normal reaction between the bead and the circular track, and also find tangential acceleration of the bead. Also find the tangential acceleration of the bead. So it is similar to that of our previous problem only. So first let us calculate the elongation. So you can easily calculate that elongation as, that elongation is nothing but initial length is 3r by 4 and final length will be r here. So that actually you can calculate by using that also, that is given actually. So even if it is not mentioned, you need to calculate. That means sometimes that this length is not mentioned here, then you need to calculate like this. If this distance is 60 degrees, sorry, this angle is 60 degrees, then this angle should also be 60 degrees, right? So then if these two angles are, because this is radius and this is also radius here. And so if these two angles are 60 and 60, then definitely this angle should also be 60 degrees. And so that these two are radius r and r means this distance should also be r here. I am giving that r value already. If it is not given, you need to calculate like this, that r value, AB distance, right? And so that then elongation of the spring we can write here it as, the elongation means similar to that of our previous, final length minus that natural length of the spring we need to write here. So that I can write this as, so elongation of spring. So elongation of the spring x is equal to r minus 3r by 4. Therefore, that x is equal to r by 4 you can write. That is elongation here. And now you may consider the forces, free body diagram of this, and then directly you can answer about this here. So I will draw the free body diagram separately here. I am drawing this semicircular track also so that you can identify the directions of these forces here, right? So this is, suppose say this bead is here, mg is there along this direction, and the spring force will be there along this direction, kx, and as you know the normal reaction will be directed towards the center here. The normal reaction will be there along this direction here. So now we need to balance those, we need to resolve those forces and we need to write the corresponding force equations here. So as we discussed already, I can say that this angle will be 60 degrees, that is already given here. So that this angle is also 60 degrees, and so that this angle is also 60 degrees here, right? So now here we need to resolve these components along the normal and perpendicular to the normal direction, that means tangential direction here. So now I am writing these force components here. So I am resolving this mg into components, mg and this force into components here. This is our normal and tangential. So this is a tangential direction and this is a normal direction here, right? And so now kx cos 60 along this direction, and this along this direction kx sin 60, right? And for mg, and along this it is for mg you can identify this angle here. So that means this angle is 60 degrees, so that this angle is also 60 degrees here. That means here this angle is 60 degrees, right? We already mentioned here. This makes an angle 60 degrees. If this angle is 60, this is vertical and this is the radial direction. So that this angle is also 60. That means mg is making an angle of 60 degrees with this normal. And so then this 60 is not with the tangential. You need to identify. This 60 is with the spring direction here. And so that you can't resolve with the help of this. So that I am taking this angle here. And so that this angle will be mg cos 60 here along normal direction, and along this direction mg sin 60 you will get. And so now I am balancing along the radial direction here. Just write the force equations along radial direction and along this tangential direction. From that you can calculate those required values there. So along the radial, direction, net force should be equal to 0. The previously what we mentioned, same relation, because we are releasing from rest here, so that the acceleration will be 0 immediately after releasing. So that what we can write is kx cos 60 is equal to ks cos 60 plus n. This value is equal to mg cos 60. Therefore, this n is equal to mg minus kx into cos 60. That cos 60 is 1 by 2. Now we can substitute these values here. Mg minus this k value is nothing but mg by r, and this x value is nothing but r by 4, right, into this value is 1 by 2 we are taking common here. So mg by 4 you will get 3 mg by 4, and therefore it is 3 mg by 8 we can write. This is a normal reaction here. The normal reaction between the bead and the ring, semicircular ring. And next this tangential acceleration they are writing here, so that along tangential direction we can write again such a force equations now. So that means along tangential direction, so that means tangential force is equal to, we can write this as tangential acceleration in the sense acceleration of the bead along the tangent to that circle. And we will discuss in detail about the tangential acceleration and centripetal acceleration after this friction topic. We will discuss the circular motion there. In that you will get the more clarity. So simply tangential acceleration means there will be some net force acting along the tangential direction which produces the acceleration along the tangential direction. That we call the simply tangential acceleration. So just we need to find the forces along the tangential direction here. So these two are in same direction now. So we can write this as now tangential force as kx sine 60 plus mg sine 60 we can write. And so this value is equal to m into at. Just this net force is equal to ma. That as we are writing the tangential acceleration, I am taking it as some at term I am taking there, right? And so that then this equation we can write this as, we can simplify these equations here. This k value is mg by r, and again this x value is r by 4 plus mg, and this is sine 60 root 3 by 2 is equal to m into at. So therefore this at is equal to, m value can cancel there. So at is equal to, here you will get like 5g by 4 into root 3 by 2, right? So because here this r and r will be cancelled, g by 4 plus g you will get, which is 5g by 4, and we can simplify with this, so that finally we can write this as into g. So that is a tangential acceleration of this particle here. So tangential acceleration immediately after releasing this bead here, the tangential acceleration, and this is a normal reaction here. So is it clear? For such a type of problems, that is a way of solving here. Just we need to resolve the components, and additionally that spring force we need to calculate. So that according to the given information we are calculating elongations of the spring, and so that we are taking the spring force also included in our free body diagrams here, right? Next there will be some problems actually based on these springs, like immediately after cutting, either string or spring joined with them with the system is cut, then immediately after cutting them we need to write the accelerations there, instantaneous accelerations. So for all of them, the only property we need to remember here is spring force is not an instantaneous force here. So that means problems based on that. So just to mention this, spring force is not an instantaneous force. So spring force is not an instantaneous force. That means it doesn't change that instantaneously. The force, the spring force, if you are doing any changes in that, the spring force does not change instantaneously, whereas the tension in the spring is instantaneously. Just I will explain with a simple example here. So just let us consider these two blocks are connected by a string. So let us say this block is A and this block is B. And such identical blocks are connected by a spring also, right? This is the systems we are considering. One system is connected with the spring and other system is connected with the string. And so now we are applying the force here. Suppose say force F is applied on the system here. Suddenly we are pulling that system with a force F. Then you can say, if suppose the acceleration of the block is, say here acceleration of this block is 2 meter per second square, I am assuming here. Then acceleration of the B in this first case is definitely 2 meter per second square only, right? So definitely it must be 2 meter per second square only. And so that means once if we pull this block here, then this tension in the string will arises, and so that this block also starts moving here with the same acceleration as that of this block here, right? And so that once if you apply the force here, then tension in the string will arises. But here if the system is initially, let us say consider the spring is at its natural length, and suppose because of this force it starts moving with some acceleration here. So let us say it is moving with some initial acceleration of 2 meter per second square. Then immediately after applying that force, the acceleration of the A will be still 0. So the acceleration of A is still 0 because spring is at natural length. So suddenly if you apply this force here, the spring force does not change immediately or does not change instantaneously. So because here spring force is initially 0. So if you are doing any changes in the system, the spring force does not change instantaneously. Is it clear? So that the spring force acting on this block will be still 0 only, even if you apply this force here. So just after some time, after some interval, then there will be some force acting on this block here, because that means the elongation of the spring should take place. Here in this example, elongation will take place here, and because of this elongation, then spring force will arise, and because of the spring force, this block here starts accelerating, right? So this process should take place. The elongation of the spring should take place, and so that it can exert the force on this rarer block A here. But whereas such a need is not there here. Immediately if you pull this, then immediately it starts moving here. Is it clear? The difference between spring force and the tension in the string is clear. And so because of that reason, we say that this spring force is not an instantaneous force. That means it does not change. If you are doing any changes in the system, the spring force does not change immediately. It will take some time. The spring force, in order to change the force, spring force, it will take some time here. So just to mention that the spring force is not an instantaneous force, but tension in the string is an instantaneous force. So why it is not instantaneous means there is a reason here. So any changes are taking place in the spring force means there must be changes taking place in the length of the spring. So either compression may change or elongation of the spring may change. So then spring force will changes. So for changing compression or elongation, it will take some time here, and so that when it is taking some time, so we are saying that it is not an instantaneous force, right? So whereas the tension in the string is an instantaneous force here. So mention that also. Therefore, whenever we are doing sudden changes in the system, sudden changes in the system is generally cutting of the springs or springs in the system. Either sometimes we cut the spring or sometimes we cut the springs. So that means if such a sudden changes are doing, then spring force does not change, right? So mention that whenever we are doing some sudden changes in the system, then spring force does not change immediately. So spring force does not change immediately. We should consider the spring force as remains constant just before and just after changes taking place in the system. Just before and just after changes taking place in the system. Right? And so now see some based on this. Some problems based on this, it is not an instantaneous force here, right? So I am taking this, let us cancel this fully blocked system here. So this side, this is one block, and this is connected through a spring to the another block here. and which is connected to this ground. And then this side also, this another two blocks are there here. This is one block and it is connected by another spring here. And this is another block. Suppose I am taking these blocks as M1, M2, M3, M4, right? And this is a pulley here. This is the pulley. And the spring constants, you can take some values, either K1 and K2 you may consider here. That is not required for us, right? So then K1 and K2 let us consider here. So now I am taking this string as AB I am naming here. So the system shown in figure is in equilibrium. The system shown in figure is in equilibrium. For this equilibrium to attain, what should be the relation between masses of the blocks? What should be the relation between, that means M1, M2, M3 and M4, relation between mass of the blocks? That is first question. Next question. When the system is in equilibrium, if we cut the string AB, if we cut the string AB, then immediately after cutting the string, find the acceleration of each block. Right? Yeah. Now let us see this. This system is it is in equilibrium, they are saying here. When it is in equilibrium, the condition is when it is in equilibrium with some tension in the string here. With some tension, there must be some this. Initially, the string AB is taut in the sense there will be some tension will be there in that. So that when there is some tension in the string, the only condition what we can write here is the weight of these two blocks must be greater than this weight of these two blocks. So otherwise, if weight of these two blocks is more, for example, then the system will accelerate in this direction here, because there is possibility for that. It can accelerate in downward direction, so that it does not oppose any such an acceleration here, right? So that simply it will become loose, and so that there won't be any tension in the string if it is happened. So that M3 plus M4 is greater than that of M2 and M1. And but to remain in equilibrium, to remain at rest with some tension in this string, so that the mass of these two blocks should be greater than that of sum of mass of these two blocks here. So that means what we can write is, for the first question here, for equilibrium, what we can write is M1 plus M2 into G should be greater than M3 plus M4 into G. And here if they mention like just for equilibrium and there is no any condition for this, you can take equality also, because if these two are equal, sum of these two blocks are same, and so that there won't be any tension in the string and system can remain in equilibrium. So if the string has some tension, this is if this string AB is taut, then definitely this mass should be greater than that of sum of these two masses here, right? So whether you need to take equality or not, that depends on the given conditions here. Here I am giving with some tension only, it should be taut here, so that we are taking the next step as cutting that string. So that I am taking that M1 plus M2 is greater than this M3 plus M4 here. So that the system is equilibrium with some tension in this string. Is it clear? If you are taking RE greater than, that means the M1 plus M2 is greater than or equal to, if you are taking, when they are equal, then the system will be in equilibrium only, but the tension in the string will become 0. Is it clear? So next. So now let us come to the next part here. So next part is nothing but we need to write when the tension is cut here. So right, when the string is cut, we need to write the acceleration of the different blocks we need to write. And before that, whenever such a question is there, just after cutting that strings, so first write the force equations before cutting the string also, for any problem related to that. Just after cutting the string, there will be a lot of questions based on this. So just whenever such a questions are there, so you write the first equation, force equations before cutting the string also. So just I am writing that before cutting the string. So for the second part of this problem, so before cutting the string AB, so now I am taking the situation before cutting the string AB. So now I am taking this FBDs of the each block and I am writing those equations there, force equations, right? So I am taking this force equation FBD of this M1, so M1G, and here some spring force will be there. So just I am taking as some F1 so that spring force calculation is not required. This spring force I am taking as some F1 here. It is an equilibrium, right? So that what we can write here is F1 is equal to M1G, you can write. So this is equation 1, right? Next is F2, M2 free body diagram also I am taking here. M2. Now for M2, the forces acting on this M2 are weight of this block. This spring force will also be there in downward direction here. So that some tension will be there here. So this tension let us take as T1 and let us take this tension as T2. And this here spring force I am taking as F1 and this force I am taking as F2, right? Is it clear? Weight plus this spring force will be there in downward direction. So this is M2G plus and this F1. And some tension T1 will be there in upward direction here. So that again this is also an equilibrium, right? And so that what we can write is T is equal to M2G plus F1. And F1 means you can substitute this value here. So that this T1 is equal to M1 plus M2 into G. After substituting this F1 value, right? And now let us take the free body diagram of M3. Again I am taking this free body diagram of M3 here. Now let us write the forces acting on this M3 here. So tension will be there here in upward direction. This we are taking as T1. And remaining forces will be there here. So this M3G and some spring force F2 will be there. Here the spring force we are taking as F2. And as we are taking this system is having some greater weight, definitely this spring will also be in elongated state only. So that I am taking that force as in downward direction, F2 value as. And then again this system is in equilibrium. So then T1 is equal to F2 plus M3G you can write. And as we know the T1 value here, this is our T1 value here. Let it be equation 2. As we know the T1 value, from this F2 value we can write actually here. Therefore F2 is equal to T1 is this one minus M3G we need to write. So finally I am writing this M1 plus M2 minus M3. This M3 value we are writing this side. So minus M3 into G. So this is our F3 value. Let's suppose this is equation 3. And then let us take the FBD of this fourth block here. So then FBD of this M4 is, so then this problem, this F2 is there in upward direction here. Now the force acting on this, spring force acting on this will be in upward direction, F2. And then this M4G and the tension T2 will be there here. This string also will be there. As we are considering weight of this block is greater than that of weight of these two blocks. And so that there will be some tension here. The tension will be there in this string. So as this system is also, that block is also in equilibrium, you can balance the forces now. So that F2 is equal to T2 plus M4 into G. And from this, as we know the F2 value, from this I am going to write the T2 value then. So therefore this T2 is equal to F2 minus M4 into G, and then you can substitute the F2 value from you by using this equation, so that you will get M1 plus M2 minus M3 minus M4 into G, right? So this is equation 4. So those are the F1, F2 values and T1, T2 values, and those are the force equations just before cutting this string here. So now just after cutting, you need to remember that in all the problems we are going to discuss about the just after cutting only, right? if you are allowing some time, then some changes will take place in the spring, and so that the spring force also changes, and then accelerations of the different block will be different you will get. But here all the questions will be based on this just after cutting the string, just after cutting only. And so that now here I am taking this as so that means now just after cutting the string, just after cutting the string AB, we are cutting the string AB here. So now let us take again free body diagrams, and then we need to write the force equations, right? So as we are cutting the string here, I am drawing the free body diagram from this, from starting from M4. We will do the calculations like this because some change is taking place in for this M4 here. So now I am taking this FBD of M4. So FBD of M4 I am taking here, right? So then FBD of M4 after cutting, just after cutting. So here the thing is, we need to mention that just after cutting this string AB here, is there any change in this spring force here? That is our property what we are actually discussing here. So if we cut this string, immediately there is no change in the spring force here. But the tension in this string will become 0. That means whatever we are assuming T2 here, that T2 will become 0. That means if you are considering the free body diagram here, just after cutting, this T2 will become 0 but not F2. F2 will be there, same value. Whatever that F2 is there, spring force is there before cutting the string, same tension spring force will be there just after cutting the string also. So just mention that point here, then we can draw this free body diagram. So just after cutting the string AB, there won't be any changes in the spring force F2. There won't be any changes in the spring force. There won't be any changes in the spring force, right? And so that now I am drawing the free body diagram. So that this F2 will remain same here, and now this M4G will be there in downward direction here. Just here when compared to this, T2 is not there. Now if the situation is like this, now is the system is in equilibrium, M4 can still remains in equilibrium. What I am saying here is, whatever F2 is there, for example here if you are taking some 50 newtons is there, same 50 newtons will be there here. If weight of the block is say some 30 newtons is there for example, then same 30 newtons will be there here, right? So only that T2 value is 20 newtons, the 20 newtons is disappearing here as we are cutting the string here. And so that the upward force will be greater than that of downward force, because one force we are removing that one force suddenly here. And so that this block will start accelerating in upward direction. That is our conclusion here. A4 will be there in upward direction here. This is acceleration. The acceleration of the block will be there in upward direction. Is it clear why it is? Because this downward force is decreasing here when you cut that string. And so now we may write the acceleration of the system here. Acceleration of this fourth block. Therefore A4 is equal to F2 minus M4 into G by M4. And actually from this equation you can observe that F2 minus M4 is nothing but T2, right? So therefore I can write this expression as T2 by F4 numerically. Observe this. T2 means that is the tension before cutting this string here. So from this equation I am substituting that. F2 minus, you can substitute that F2 value here, as F2 value is known to us. You can substitute F2 value directly also. Just to give an idea directly how to answer this type of questions, I am writing this equation in terms of this here. That means you can substitute F2 value from this and you can write the acceleration of the system. That means you should also observe that if you know this point, if from this if you are understanding this point here, no need of writing all these equations, you can answer it directly. That is, due to cutting this string here, whatever the string force it is disappearing, that force only will produce the acceleration, that force only will produce the net force acting on the system here. So that means now here T2 is disappearing, right? So T2 is disappearing. So the acceleration of the motion will be, the acceleration of the system will be, or acceleration of that particular block will be due to the T2 only. So that force by mass of this block you can take here. Even if you write the force equations and everything you can write. So simply you can also write like this. Which force is disappearing or which amount of force is changing, that only will produce an acceleration for that system, right? And so that you can write the T2 value here, and then you can mention this as A4 is equal to T2 value I am writing here, M1 plus M2 plus M3, minus M3 minus M4 into G by M4, right? So it is an acceleration of the system here, acceleration of the system. And next, if you are taking FBD of the, this is FBD of 3 kg block, for example, now if you are taking FBD of 3 kg, remaining you can answer directly also, right? So now, is there any changes in the force acting on this block here, M3? Is there any changes in the force acting on this M3? There will immediately after cutting, we are discussing about immediately after cutting here. So immediately after cutting, as we are saying, there won't be any changes in this spring force here, F2, right? If there is no any changes in the spring force, there won't be any changes in this remaining forces acting on this M3 also, right? And so that this M3 value will still remains in equilibrium. That means if I ask like what are the forces acting on this M3 means, so this is T2, that is we are taking it as T1, M3G and F2 are acting in downward direction. So under the action of these two forces, and all those values were same as that of the before case also, before cutting also. And so that as the same force are acting here, so this block will be still in equilibrium here. And so that I can write this as A3, the acceleration of this block will be 0. Because still it remains in equilibrium, not for long time. So don't think that not for long time, just immediately after cutting only. After a fraction of seconds, it also starts accelerating there. So our question is just after cutting that string here, so that its acceleration will be 0, right? And then if the acceleration, the force of acting on this block will remain same, then axial force acting on this block also will remain same. T2 in upward direction, F1 is downward direction, and this M2G will be in downward direction, and so that acceleration of that block also remains same. That means force acting on this block also remains same, and so that block also still remains in equilibrium. And the same for this block also. That means the remaining these 3 blocks will remain in the same state as that of before cutting, right? Because there won't be any changes in the forces here. There won't be any changes in the remaining forces. This FP is not changing, so that here tension don't change, and here the tension remains same. Then here the spring force or also every force will remain same for this side also. And so that finally what we can mention is, so the acceleration of the all remaining forces will remain 0. All remaining blocks. So A3 is equal to A2 is equal to A1. This value will be 0. You may just add a sentence here. The forces acting on the remaining blocks, as the spring force F2 remains same, the forces acting on the blocks M1, M2 and M3 remain same. The forces acting on the blocks M1, M2, M3 remains same. And so the acceleration of these 3 blocks will be 0. The acceleration of these 3 blocks will be 0. Right? So that means that just after cutting the spring questions, we need to answer like problem based on